Working from home is no joke. You still have all your responsibilities to meet, you still have deadlines, and you still have a lot of stuff that you need to answer to. And while there are many advantages to working from home, such as not having to commute, not having to deal with all those zombies that you have at the office, being able to just work with your pajamas, not having to leave the house actually, there are some real disadvantages. Now, I've been working from home for the past 2 years and I've learned a thing or two about the craft. So, after watching so many people struggle with the quarantine and having to get used to working from home, I decided to share my tips for working from home. Make a dedicated workspace. You don't want to work from your couch. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to work. I've tried it multiple times. Doesn't work, believe me. What you want to do is you want to have a place that is specific for work. It can be like a desk in your room, or it can be ideally another room in your house. Whatever the place that it is, make sure that keep it consistent and set it aside, because this is going to train you mentally. So whenever you sit at that place, you're going to switch to a work mindset. Be mindful of the tools that you're using. The last thing that you want is to be dealing with technical difficulties while trying to run an interview or a meeting with a client or with your boss or with whoever. Make sure that you have the right tools for the job and that you know how to use them well. If we're talking about software, there's a list of few things. By the way, none of these companies are paying me money at all for this kind of comments. The only thing is that I personally use them for my business, and it's not failed me so far. It's a pretty good product, which is why I want to share it. But you want to start with, for Zoom for video conferencing, Microsoft Office for writing all these Word documents, Dropbox for sharing files, Slack for group chat, something to edit PDF files, and something to take notes. It can be Notepad, it can be Notepad++, brackets, VS Code, or you can just have like a physical notepad where you can take those, whatever works for you. Hardware tools include a good microphone and a good pair of headphones. Now, let me show you something, okay? These are the headphones that I used to use before it. They're good. They're really not bad quality. But the problem is that they can only last you for a few months before breaking down. So, even though it's cheaper on the short term, it's more expensive on the long term because you have to buy 2 to 3 pairs every year. Now, what I did is that you can get one of these. It comes with a cord and it's also wireless, and the microphone is pretty good. The audio is pretty good. It's pretty good quality, and it makes it really easy, and it improves all my video conferences. You want to have proper lighting and ideally a good internet connection, and ideally also a good computer. Now, I know that not everybody can afford to get a computer right now, especially with the unemployment rate, but keep it as a priority, or maybe keep it on the back burner. But don't forget about it, because a powerful computer really makes a big difference. Create a routine. This one's going to be the toughest for a lot of people, because most people have a routine, but it's not because we want to, but because we're forced to. We don't wake up at 7 in the morning because we like it. We wake up at 7 in the morning because we know that we have to be at work at the office at 8, and we have to get ready and we have to commute. And now you don't have all the pressure on you, at least not as much. You still have your responsibilities to meet. Make sure that you create a routine to wake up every day at the same time, to have breakfast at the same time, to work X amount of hours, working from, you can still do from 9 to 5, from 4 to 8, whatever works for you. but make sure that you keep it consistent, because otherwise you're not gonna be able to lead a normal life. I remember that there was one project that I did, like my last project, where I didn't have a routine at all. I was like really disorganized, and what happened is that because I was running late and I had to meet a deadline, I started working around 6 in the afternoon and didn't stop until 6 in the morning. It's okay a few times, but if you keep doing it for 2 or 3 weeks in a row, it's really detrimental to your health, and it's really detrimental to all the aspects in your life, because you cannot really have a social life anymore. The one thing that is really cool that you have the advantage is that now you can design your routine to meet your needs. You no longer have to follow a strict routine that somebody gives, but you can make your own. Plan your meetings ahead. This one is especially useful for people who live with their families, or for people who live with roommates. Finding some silence for your meetings is going to be a challenge. So what you want to do is you want to tell them, all the people, hey, I'm going to be running a meeting for the next 30 minutes or for the next hour or so. Or you can tell them, hey, I'm going to be running a meeting tomorrow at 9 in the morning, so please make sure that you have all your things figured out by then, so we can all be happy and harmonious, because you don't want to be fighting with people for being noisy when you're trying to run a meeting. That's definitely not a healthy thing. Establish to-do lists. This one goes tied with making a schedule for you, because it's going to help you keep organized and organize yourself well. Every night before I go to sleep, I have a to-do list. I have a notebook where I write, okay, what are the things that I'm going to do tomorrow? Working out, reading, working, etc. It's also good to keep you accountable to yourself. Stay in contact. This one is really important. There are a lot of people who are just losing contact with their loved ones. Don't fall into this trap, okay? It's really easy to just get isolated and think you're alone. Call your friends, call your family. Like, if there's somebody in your life that you want to talk to, just call them and say, hey, you're busy right now, let's have a chat. I've maintained contact with my friends, and I don't regret it, because sometimes it gets really difficult. So make sure that you do it. Like, organize Zoom meetings with your friends, just call them over the phone. There's a lot of channel for you to do this, but make sure that you stay in contact. Working from home doesn't have to be hard. It takes a little getting used to, but it's actually way better than working at a regular corporate environment. You don't have to commute. You can. It's way more comfortable though. I always work in my PJs, and whenever I run a meeting, I don't have to wear fancy clothes anymore, because everybody's working from home. Everybody's wearing casual. It's really cool. I love working from home, and I wouldn't trade it any time for going back to a regular office environment. So make sure you take advantage of the situation, make the most out of this. This is a really cool opportunity, because right now you get to spend more time with your loved ones. And I'm not talking about the quarantine, I'm talking like working from home. If you have a family, all the hours that you spend commuting, that's time that right now you can spend with your family. So that's one thing that we take for granted a lot of times, so don't forget it, okay? By the way, YouTube is not friendly to independent content creators like me. So if you want to follow me, you want to follow what I'm doing, you want to follow all the cool things I'm going to be building in the future, don't hesitate and don't forget to follow me on my alternative platforms, Minds, BitChute, Gab, Library, and also on the traditional platforms, which is Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, etc., etc. And that's it. Thank you for watching.